Antarctica was officially discovered in 1820, then why did these maps as early as the 1500s already know about it? Across different centuries, different countries, and different map makers, the same land masses keep showing up, not once, not twice, but over and over. Some maps show Antarctica ice-free, some show rivers, some show land masses beneath where we now know are miles of ice. But here's the part that matters the most. These cartographers didn't know each other, they weren't copying modern science, and they all claimed to be using much older source maps. Were these explorers actually discovering something, or were they rediscovering knowledge that had already been lost? This is the Piri Reis map. Now, it was painted on gazelle skin by an Ottoman admiral who claimed he didn't create it from scratch. He assembled it. And according to Piri's own notes, he used over 20 ancient sources. Ptolemy maps from the 2nd century, old Arab maps, and even a map drawn by Christopher Columbus, which has been completely lost to history today. Yet somehow this composite map shows the Atlantic with shocking precision. The West African coast is accurate. The Brazil coastline is nearly perfect. Even the placement of islands matches what we use today. Now, the real controversy is at the bottom. The map shows a landmass extending further south than South America should go, and some research say this outline matches Antarctica without ice, specifically the Queen Maud Land coast. Now, that coastline wasn't officially documented until the 1900s when scientists used seismic surveys and radar to look beneath the ice. So how did a map from 1513 get it right? Historian Charles Hapgood said Piri copied fragments from an advanced civilization that existed before the last ice age. Now, a civilization capable of long-distance navigation. Albert Einstein wrote the foreword to Hapgood's research, saying it deserves serious consideration. Mainstream historians say it's a coincidence, that it's South America stretched, a distortion, a misinterpretation, but even today, no one can fully explain why a 500-year-old map matches modern topography under the ice. This is map number 2 that should not exist, and honestly, this one is crazier than the Piri Reis. Easily one of the most controversial maps in history. 1531 map drawn by French mathematician Orontius Finaeus. Orontius Finaeus. I feel like I'm from Harry Potter right now. Anyways, French mathematician Orontius Finaeus drew a world map. Now, he'd never been to Antarctica because no human had. Antarctica wasn't officially discovered until 1820. No one in Europe had ever seen the continent, sailed its coast, or even knew it existed. Yet somehow in 1531, Orontius Finaeus produced a map that shows a shape that is wildly more accurate than any guess of that time. And the strangest part, he drew Antarctica ice-free, as if he was copying a map from a time when the continent wasn't frozen. Now that would place the original source map thousands of years before recorded history. So where did Finaeus get this information? With rivers and valleys and mountain ranges and long curved coastlines that match what we didn't know until satellites mapping in the 1950s. Now, how did a man from the 1500s draw that? Now, his notes say he used ancient maps from civilizations older than Rome and Greece. Some think it was from the Library of Alexandria. Others think they were lost seafaring civilizations that mapped the world before the Ice Age. And then, of course, there are the theories that Antarctica wasn't always frozen, that humans lived there, or that someone else mapped it entirely. Now, scientists still can't agree on why the outline fits so well. The skeptics argue that it could be coincidence or misinterpretation, but they can't explain the mountain ranges under the ice, or the river systems that shouldn't be visible unless Antarctica was once warm. The truth, no one knows where Orontius Finaeus got his data, but one thing is undeniable. His 1531 map should not be this accurate, and yet it is. What theory makes the most sense to you? A lost civilization? Ancient seafarers? Or something else entirely? Map 3, and why Mercator believed in an unknown southern land. Before Antarctica was ever discovered, ancient thinkers believed that Earth needed a massive continent in the south to balance the weight of the continents in the north. This idea came from ancient writers like Ptolemy and medieval philosophers long before Antarctica was ever discovered. So when Gerardus Mercator created his influential 1569 world map, he included that southern continent too. He labeled it Terra Australis Incognito, the unknown southern land. It wasn't based on exploration, it was based on ancient theory. And Mercator's map was designed for navigation, not accuracy, which is why his projection stretches land near the poles and often distorts or hides Antarctica completely. But here's the strange part. Some versions of Mercator's map show what looks like mountain ranges, bays, and even edges of ice shelves, features he shouldn't have known about in the 1500s or been accurate on. And Mercator himself claimed his sources included ancient maps now lost, sailors' charts, and older world maps from origins no one can trace. So that raises the same questions we've seen with Piri Reis and Orontius Finaeus. How did early cartographers draw details of a continent that wasn't officially discovered until 1820? This is the Haji Ahmed map, made in 1559. What makes this map interesting isn't just Antarctica, how accurate the whole world looks for this time period. Because back in the 1500s, explorers were still figuring things out. Most maps from that era don't even agree with each other. Coastlines were often drawn based on guesses, but this map feels different. For one, it was printed, not hand-drawn. That matters because people didn't mass print maps unless they felt confident in the information during that time. Another thing that most people don't realize, the writing on this map is in Ottoman Turkish. That means many European scholars couldn't even read it for a long time. And the map also keeps land sizes and distances more balanced than you'd expect for the 1500s. Because of all of this, many historians believe Haji Ahmed wasn't discovering new land himself. He was putting together older maps and knowledge from different cultures. And that's important when we talk about Antarctica, because it suggests map makers back then weren't starting from zero. They may have been working with information that already existed. Antarctica wasn't even officially discovered yet, so why does the 1700s map show what's under the ice? In 1739, a French cartographer named Philippe Buache drew Antarctica as two landmasses with water between them. At the time, Antarctica was assumed to be one solid block of ice. No rivers, no channels, no interior detail. Now, Buache claimed this wasn't a guess. He said he was reconstructing geography using older maps, explorer reports, and something he called theoretical geography. His theory? That ice doesn't erase geography. It hides it. And that water systems would exist beneath the ice. Now, centuries later, ice-penetrating radar shows Antarctica actually has massive subglacial lakes and water networks beneath the ice. Now, not exactly what Buache drew, but close enough to make historians pause. Did Buache have some brilliant scientific theory, or was he working from some much older source maps? Now, this is where I remind you I write sci-fi, but sci-fi is always inspired by the questions science hasn't answered yet. These maps shouldn't exist, but yet they do. So whether you think this points to lost civilizations, ancient source maps, or just a history we don't fully understand yet, one thing's clear: Antarctica's story didn't start in 1820. I want to know what explanation makes the most sense to you, and don't forget to hit the follow button.